Burnley are undergoing a tactical revolution under new manager Vincent Kompany and have displayed a style of football that is in stark contrast to what Burnley fans have seen at Turf Moor over the last few seasons. It's a play style that's looking to be positive, free-flowing and very, very dynamic. And it's not all going to go right at the start, but the signs are that Burnley are going to be playing an incredibly unique, attractive style of football under the ex-Man City captain. Anderlecht and Belgium fans will be no strangers to Kompany's 4-4-2. It was his trademark, his go-to tactic. The fluidity and dynamism is something that we have not seen in the Championship. When we think 4-4-2 and when we think 4-4-2 and Burnley, we think of those two banks of four. This is very, very different. And in this video, we're going to highlight the shape of the team, the strengths, the weaknesses, and the key players involved. Because as I said, this is something we've never seen before in the Championship. So I think the best way to structure this analysis is to start in the defensive third and work our way through. Go through the thirds, flowing into attack, a bit like Burnley are doing these days as well. And let's start off then with the goalkeeper and the defence. Now, the goalkeeper is a crucial cornerstone in Burnley's tactic as it allows an outball in most scenarios. Teams are pressing all the time now, and Muric, the new goalkeeper, will often stay in line with the ball so that it's a very straight, direct back pass to him in possession. This makes it easier for a midfielder to play that simple back pass as well, and also allows the centre-backs to be an option if they're being pressed as well. Let's have a look at a couple of short clips here. Now, these two short clips demonstrate how available and how often Muric is utilised during a match. His understanding of where to stand is very impressive, so is his ability on the ball. Muric is averaging 36.3 touches per game and is also averaging 23 accurate passes per game, 78% of his passes being accurate, which puts him in the top 3 Championship goalkeepers in terms of passes per 90 completed. This brings us on nicely to the defenders and their role in the team with the ball. Now, check this clip out. So, when Taylor Harewood-Bellis picks up the ball in this game, he remains calm and he looks for the lateral option. You'll see it coming in just a second. Connor Roberts, look at him racing out to get as wide as possible so that they can be wide themselves. But importantly, look on the left-hand side and the position of Ian Maatsen. Now, this looks like a back three, but it's not. It's obviously that back four. But Ian Maatsen playing so high and wide means that they themselves make the pitch as high as wide and as wide as possible. But it will also make it easier for them to play the ball into midfield. And the big thing here for Burnley is patience. They will take their time in terms of finding their way to be incisive. They will start to sort of move from side to side, keep that pitch as big as possible before the pass is available to them, and then they start to play. This, of course, is a massive juxtaposition to what Burnley fans have seen in the past, where they get the ball and they look to hit that target man nice and early. Moving into midfield now and the role of Josh Cullen, probably the biggest part of this whole tactic and system. And of course, Josh Cullen, ex-West Ham, ex-Charlton loanee, and one of Kompany's main men at Anderlecht, is pivotal in part of this system. Now, not only is he crucial, and let me just run this. This is the game, of course, against Huddersfield Town, first game of the season. You see how important he is in terms of ball retention, but also he's a very dangerous weapon. Because what's great is that this clip's perfect, really, because first of all, he sort of gets on the ball. The way that he demands the ball here, you will see, once plays it off, wants the ball again. But importantly, in terms of this sort of the attacking runners and the movement of those players, they can feel safe in the idea of making those runs because they believe that Cullen will find them, basically. And here's another great example. What a lovely through ball that is. But because of those runners higher up the pitch, it creates that space, and Ashley Barnes is through. Here's another clip of how Burnley look to start their attacks with a back three. So if we let this run for just a second, and then I'll stop it at around 16 seconds here, you can see, if we just pause it now, there you go, you can see that there are 3 defensive options to pass to, a double pivot and 2 very wide options in which play can be spread out. This makes it very hard for Huddersfield to judge where the ball will go, and also means that an attacker can be found vertically and within 2 passes. They've entered the final third. So by now you should be pretty familiar of how Burnley want to play with that back three in possession. Let's show you a clip now, an example of everything that actually creates a goal-scoring opportunity. So here we go. You can see the back three here, and they've got the ball, they're comfortable with the ball, they're patient with the ball as well. They're using the width of the pitch, they're looking to find Ian Maatsen, And again, by using that width of the pitch in that 4-4-2, you're able to sort of get the ball into those players if they're able to come short, which they're able to do so. They're patient, though. They continue to be patient. They go back. They start again. The midfielders look to get into those sort of half spaces in between those three defenders as well to give themselves options. They're press-proof. They're patient. That's the big thing here, time and again. And again, press-proof, get away from it, and get themselves a foul. For Watford and for a lot of teams, it feels like there's a sort of sense of security here. You think you're okay, you think you're safe. And again, patient with the ball, simple passes. But then all of a sudden, because of Maatsen being so high up the pitch, they are then very incisive. And just a couple of decisive passes, and all of a sudden they're higher up the pitch. The cross comes in and they flood that box. Very, very positive in what they're doing. And then Brownhill, one of those midfielders who probably didn't get forward like he did do in previous tenures, is now getting involved and getting opportunities for the team. Here's another clip that shows something a little bit different. First of all, look at that switch of play, making the pitch as big as possible. And again, showing that at times, yes, that it is decisive and vertical as much as anything else. But what's really important here, and I'll pause it in just a second, what you can see, the symmetry of those both those fullbacks is really, really interesting. You've got Connor Roberts on one side, Ian Maatsen on the other side. And it's something that, of course, Pep Guardiola did himself at Bayern Munich, and it's something, obviously, Vincent Kompany is looking to do himself. By having those inverted fullbacks in this moment in time, being on the edge of the 18-yard box, ready for the scraps to help recycle the ball, pick up the ball, and maybe be a threat in an attacking sense as well. Really sort of hems in the opposition and picks up any of those scraps. Puts pressure if they're able to get out of it, but they've got to get out of it first. And it's a very proactive way of using your fullbacks. So we've shown you how Burnley play, but what about the individuals? Who are the key individuals in this side? Now, we've already spoken about the goalkeeper, Arajanet Muric. He's crucial not only in being an option with the ball, but also his sweeping is so important for this Burnley side. Ian Maatsen, with his bold attacking play, is also a big part of this side. As we see here, you can see him in an advanced position and how much of a license he has to go forward. Driving with the ball, but then once he's played that pass, continuing his run and getting himself a goal. Josh Cullen, of course, we've spoken about as well. And Josh Brownhill, really, really important. Hugely impressed in this side so far. We're seeing a very different player here. And it's fascinating his role because he's kind of playing as a second striker, but he's also kind of moving out to this sort of right half spaces. And with that in mind, the reason for that is because of Ian Maatsen. With Ian Maatsen sort of bombing on that left-hand side, he kind of becomes the spare man. We showed you a clip earlier. Great example. He gets a shot off here. But that comes from him kind of just sneaking away. Again, Vincent Kompany's side trying to make the pitch as big as possible, and if you have got someone high on one side, staying away from the ball sometimes can mean that you're the final man at that back post. And to finish off this final clip from as well, it's just a beautiful goal against Luton. Now, he came through at Manchester United and was widely regarded as brilliant when it came to long distance shooting. He never really got the opportunity in the Premier League with Burnley because he had a reserved role in a double pivot. But now we're starting to see him in a far more attacking role, and I would expect him to score at least 10 goals this season, at least 10 goals, because he's a sort of midfielder turned attacker, midfield hybrid. He's averaging 3 shots per 90, and last year in the Premier League he was averaging 0.8. So as we often see with teams that come down from the Premier League, it takes time, especially with a new manager. It really does take time. But in Vincent Kompany's side, there's a dominance. There's technical players that have come through the door with the likes of Scott Twine, who I'm a huge fan of. And it might not work all the time at the start, but once this team establishes a rhythm and an understanding amongst themselves, they could be a really exciting team to watch. If you see them at any point on telly, make sure you stick on that channel because Burnley are going to be one of the entertainers this year in the Championship. If you've seen Burnley play and you've got some thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, this is the League of 72 where we talk about the EFL and the EFL only. So if you're a fan of an EFL club or you're interested in the leagues, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button as well, and I'll see you next time.